it's a hot space. So people will come in and try to take share, get lodged within this growing sector of the creator economy. Running a business is hard. I don't think anything really matters besides how we execute, because everybody else is gonna have to out-execute us, and if we're killing it, good fucking luck.
All right, we are back for another episode of Under the Number. You are the first repeat guest in Under the Number history. We've got Louis Burik, co-founder and CEO of DubClub. Lou, what's going on?
Pleasure to be here. Got my Skybox merch on. Honored
Yes.
to be the first repeat guest in the history of the program.
Your first appearance was almost exactly 2 years ago, May 2024. What has changed in the gambling landscape in the 2 years that have followed?
A lot. I think the biggest change is probably the emergence of prediction markets as an avenue to trade on sports. Like, that was not a thing when we taped last time, and now you can't open Twitter without seeing Kalshi and Polymarket discourse. So that's probably, I'm going with a simple answer, the emergence of prediction markets in the world of sports betting and trading, if you will. It's not just a sports betting trend, it's like a consumer finance trend. Like Robinhood, Coinbase, those guys are all placing bets when it comes to prediction markets and getting into sports. Like most of prediction market volume, every data source that I read, is sports. It's got the politics and the weather and the Oscars to have it, but 85% of the volume is sports. And they're working really hard, the big guys at least, and the Novigs and the ProfitXs of the world, to provide the depth and breadth of market coverage that FanDuel and DraftKings have. So that's like the one mega trend under prediction markets, is like these are trying to feel sportsbook-like in terms of the product they're offering. It's just a different market structure. It really is. Whereas, and that's not a good or bad thing, because I've seen research that suggests that the average bettor on FanDuel or DraftKings probably is having a higher ROI experience than the average trader on Polymarket and Kalshi, even if they're exclusively trading on sports. So everyone's playing. It's a different market structure. I don't know where it's all going to shake out. I think we're starting to see a little bit of a pullback societally, culturally, in terms of this is too much. So I don't know where things shake out. The current administration is very supportive of this prediction market, sports yes regime. We're starting to see state pushback. Minnesota just passed some crazy legislation that says we'll put you in jail if you put Kalshi on your phone. So I don't know where it's going to land. I do know that people love watching sports. People like having some skin in the game while they're doing so. And I think having more ways to do that is beneficial for consumers.
Yeah, I mean, the gamification of everything is part of that mega trend on the consumer side. I just had Dylan Robbins on the podcast a couple weeks ago. He's the CEO of a company called Lucra. And they basically are like the gamification, and there's actually a betting component back end that runs in the background powering competitive play at companies like Dave & Buster's and Putt Shack and 5-Iron Golf, groups like that. But what he was telling me is he's loved to sports bet for decades. And he's just was commenting on the change of the landscape. He's like, when I was in college, which was not that long ago, my friends wouldn't sports bet because they were like scared that it was so taboo. And he's like, even I love to do it, but I wouldn't tell my parents that I had a bookie. I thought that they would think I was a criminal. He's like, and you can contrast that with what's going on today. It's a different universe. He said, tease up this question, he said that he was trying to get his wife to occasionally like join him betting on the Knicks or whatever. Just like, it'll be more fun to watch the game, have some skin in the game. And she was never interested. He said he had this crazy aha moment when he got home one evening and his wife is on the couch with an open bet on Kalshi on Dancing with the Stars that she's watching on TV. And he's like, oh my gosh, okay, it's here. In the interview, he said the laggards have entered the arena officially. Have you seen, thanks to avenues like that, where people like Dylan's wife, who never bet on sports, they then get introduced to gambling via prediction markets, non-sports? Has there been more activity broadly into the sports world because of that pathway?
It's hard to trace. I think the benefit or like the tailwind for our business is these new platforms spend a ton of money and investment on customer education and acquisition. And people like Dylan's wife, Dylan is his name? Mm-hmm. Nailed it.
You're listening.
Mega brain. They're probably not going to win. For sure to start. And probably ever. Conventional wisdom suggests like 97% of sports bettors are long-term losers. I see nothing in the data that suggests that's going to like materially deviate with prediction markets. Maybe a little bit, maybe not. So whether they got into the game because it was Dancing with the Stars or they were betting on the Knicks, at some point, if they want to keep doing this, which is betting on sports, having fun, like sweating it out live with some skin in the game, they're going to want to find a resource or a person they trust that can help them do it more profitably, give them a better shot at making money or losing less. And that's where that tailwind of bringing new people into the arena, like when they're ready to actually take it seriously and hopefully make some dough, that's where DubClub can come in and be a very value add part of their betting or trading journey.
Where does DubClub fit into this new market map that's changed in the last 2 years?
It's all about empowering people to win more together with our app, right? Whether you're trading on Polymarket or you're betting on FanDuel or DraftKings, we're building an app experience to connect the experts in their field, the cappers, with the folks that are willing to pay for their advice, that like betting on sports, enjoy it, want to continue to do it, but want advice from someone they know and trust. And DubClub is that connective tissue to both connect the two sides, but also enrich the experience of betting or trading on sports through the app that we've built and we continue to build.
And as a refresher for people,
DubClub I'm like too deep in the weeds, I already know.
DubClub is more so of a content marketplace.
So DubClub is a place where people who have built an audience and a lot of credibility around their expertise as it pertains to sports and sports betting. Like I said, 97% of bettors are losers. The 3% that aren't, historically it's been really hard for them to make money sports betting because they get limited. The sportsbook will cut them off. We don't want you to bet with us. You're too good.
Yeah.
So in a world where they can't make a ton of money actually betting on sports, how else can they earn a living from this superpower they have? Selling their advice, building a subscription content business. And DubClub for that individual is like their business in a box software solution so that they can start and scale an online subscription business from day zero to making lots and lots of money and helping tons of people on their own sports betting journeys.
I can't wait for the day that you're acquired by OnlyFans.
It's an analogy that I've heard before. I don't think, they're super acquisitive, but you never know.
So you mentioned the people who have built these audiences. A lot of times, at least 2 years ago, those people had built those audiences in very scrappy, fractured ways, from Twitter threads to Discords, all these places. Is that still the same for people who are bringing onto the platform?
For sure. It's anyone who's ever built a business on social media knows it is a game of cat and mouse. Like, these algos are constantly changing. Yeah. The content strategies that they reward are constantly changing. X, TikTok, Instagram, they all have their own business objectives.
Yep.
They all have their own product metrics they're trying to move, and they're constantly tinkering with the algorithms to serve those objectives. So for a content creator, for the person who's trying to build their top of funnel for the DubClub subscription business, it is like totally trench warfare all the time when it comes to building a top of funnel on social media.
Hamster wheel.
Totally. There's just, you got to do the work, first of all. You got to show up every day. That's the one thing that's consistent across algorithms. The thing that is hamster wheely too is they're always changing, like both from what kind of content is permitted and not to what kind of content is rewarded. You know, Twitter made a bunch of changes in November, moving away from like these user-based like retweet scoring sort of algorithm towards a real focus on long form articles, video, dwell time content really getting rewarded. And that is like a totally different skill set.
Right.
So on the fly, creators need to like figure it out, and that's challenging. So yes, it's probably gotten harder actually on social media versus when we talked 2 years ago. We are starting to play a more active role in the DubClub app experience to have that like free content experience where a capper can build trust with a stranger and show what they're made of over time. That's different as well. And we're going to continue building out that trust, credibility, free content experience so that cappers don't have to be totally at the mercy of these black box social media algorithms.
I know people have made some real dough on DubClub, significant money. What are some of the wilder stories or big outcomes for cappers?
I mean, it's crazy. When I started the company 5 years ago, it's like, I don't know if this is going to work or not. Like, we started it because it was a pain point for ourselves.
Yeah.
Like my co-founder, Andrew Dashbach, Dash, he was getting into sports betting. He was getting his ass kicked. He's like, I found these smart people on Twitter. I just can't get the plays. I'm fighting through the cesspool that is Twitter. I can say Twitter because it was Twitter at this point, not X. This is 2020. And there's got to be a better way. Like I'm spending hundreds of dollars on bets, and I have people that I know and trust, but I can't get their advice because it just gets lost in the wash. Like I'm happy to pay a subscription fee just for a better way to get the content. So that's why we started the company, but we didn't really know how widespread that pain point was. And it turned out is a real thing. We have, in a few short years, we've got millions of users on the subscriber side. We've had dozens of cappers that have earned 7 figures on the platform.
That have earned 7 figures.
Correct. Which tells me they're really solving problems for their subscribers.
Actually have an edge.
You don't do that without creating a ton of value for your subscribers and your consumers over time. So it's been a crazy journey.
Is it a massive power law situation where the top guys are just absolutely raking?
For sure, and I think that's every marketplace.
Yeah.
There's a small number of individual entrepreneurs that drive a ton of the volume, like any other business or marketplace.
Yeah, no doubt. How do these cappers, I'm sure that there's no one size fits all at all. How do they prepare? How do they research? What is the typical thing? Because I would think, like, let's take an example. Sometimes I think these guys are like our boy Ryan Russillo, just grinding games with a notepad. And they watch everything in the NBA or everything in college hoops or whatever their specialty is. And they just, it's like stare, watch, consume, figure it out, take your notes. And on the other end, there could be guys who basically don't watch the games and they're, Moneyball guys and they have some sort of a model that they're just like, I'm going off of this. How do you see it? What's the spread?
It's pun intended.
Pun intended.
It's all over the map. And each capper is kind of selling a different product, right? Some people, they're selling their community and their vibes just as much as they're selling the picks.
Yeah.
And some people are like super picks only. I don't want to talk to you. Here are my plays. Smell you later. There's no back and forth. There's no community. It's all over the map. There's a few different ways to really handicap. Some people, to your point, and it depends on the market as well. If you're in a market where there's not a ton of structured data, for example, like UFC, we've got a lot of people who are really sharp in UFC because they're like tape junkies. And styles make fights. They know matchups, grappler, brawler. Like when they're placing a bet, a bookmaker is moving a number. Not because it's so much volume, but it's like we really respect that person's analysis. And if they think Chimaev is overvalued at this price, like they're going to adjust their price because they're like a fundamental investor where they're studying the tape and have a point of view on the risk and the probability of a given outcome. So that's like one extreme, like the tape junkie. It's definitely a thing. I think in those markets in particular where there's not a ton of structured data versus a sport like baseball,
right,
where it's like you can slice things a million different ways. There are, these model-based bettors where they've got their own models that may be different, or they think they can exploit gaps in how sportsbooks model things. There are correlation bettors where they think some books or venues may not properly price correlated events. The classic, and a lot of the books. It's, again, talk about cat and mouse. They get sharper over time, but Travis Kelce over receiving yards and Patrick Mahomes over passing yards are very highly correlated. And there was a world in which the sports books weren't very good at pricing that correlation risk. And some younger venues still aren't very good at it. And you can exploit that weakness from a market maker. The other school of sports betting, generally speaking, is just like a strict expected value farm. Sports betting is a very inefficient market, generally speaking, versus traditional financial markets. For any given bet, you can get the action down at 15 different venues, depending on what state you're at. And there are specific venues that are sharper in different markets. Like FanDuel is amazing at pricing NBA player props, for example. So if you see a price for an NBA player prop on, Jalen Brunson assists, that's probably a bad example because he's a headline guy. But I don't know, Kobe White points, it's one price at FanDuel and you're getting way better number at Caesars, not to call out Caesars, that's telling you let's go in. There's just a ton of opportunities for that sort of positive expected value hunting when there's a big variance between what you think the sharp probability is versus where you can actually bet it.
Yep.
And that's probably the most tried and true method for long-term profitability. Also not a way that a lot of people love to bet when you're betting the third guy off the bench in an NBA game 61 to get over 3 points. But it's a profit cruncher.
So you mentioned what you talked about earlier, content company, marketplace. You're not dealing with the actual transactions of the bets that are being placed. You have partners for these things. For somebody
Correct.
who's operating a lean, emerging company a couple years in.
That's DubClub?
Being
DubClub. Or someone else, yeah.
How have you guys fit in and been received by the giants, by DraftKings, FanDuel, I don't know, the Kalshi, Polymarket situation now, and then also the next tier of Underdog, Prize Picks, these groups, how have you gotten along? There are a lot of people like you starting companies in this space right now. What can an entrepreneur or founder expect when navigating these waters where you can be value additive very quickly or where you might get totally crowded out? Tell me about that.
So we've really been focused since day one on we're building the destination where cappers and fans win more together. That's our mission, that's our vision, that's what we're doing. We haven't been as focused on those business to business commercial partnerships. My position has always been you focus on the end user and delivering them an epic experience, and good things fall out of it. And that's been the case. We've had conversations, we've started lightweight partnerships with these bigger giants in the space. And the reason they're interested in talking to us is because we have this epic user base that's super active, that's super engaged, that's opening the app, clicking in 12 times a day. So I think my guiding strategy has always been like, keep the first things first, focus on enriching the experience for your core users, the cappers and the fans, and then we can opportunistically explore partnerships where it makes sense with these big dogs in the space. And we've started standing up some lightweight things with different players, but it only works if the core machine is humming, and that's always where our focus lies.
You talked about the regulatory environment right now being pretty good for this type of situation. Under the current administration, Donald Trump Jr., 1789 Capital, is an investor in Polymarket and an advisor at Kalshi. They're obviously, they're down for this type of thing right now. How much do you worry? Because you mentioned earlier, Minnesota, they've just did this crazy hardline anti-prediction markets thing recently, and that's our boy Tim Walz. And do you worry that there is this short window where you have to capitalize before potential major backlash? If there's a big swing to the other end of the spectrum in the next presidential election, do you worry? Like, how much do you look at macro stuff like that? I know it's totally out of your control, but how much do you think about it?
Not a lot. To your point, it's out of our control.
Yeah.
Here are the things I know. I know sports are only becoming more culturally important. I think that's
no doubt about that.
I think Skybox is betting on that. I'm betting on that.
Yeah.
I think that's a one-way trend for a lot of reasons. I think people generally like risk. They like betting. They like having skin in the game. So as sports, I think that's a one-way trend too. I mean, I'm sure historically there have been examples where society becomes more conservative for a period of time, but I would say that generally speaking, that's probably blips on a radar, and it's a one-way trend towards more risk and financial experimentation. So that's good for DubClub. And the third thing that I believe to be true is most people are on their own, left to their own devices, not going to have success trading in these markets because of how they're structured. And I think DubClub is well positioned to help that losing bettor level up, because they're going to want to continue to engage in sports betting or sports trading, and they got a much better shot at having a healthy relationship with it using a platform like DubClub. But I don't know exactly where the regulatory changes are going to happen, and we've got a business where we're not directly exposed to it because we live on the content world and away from the actual transactions.
Right.
So we're kind of insulated from the immediate regulatory risk, but I think we're on the right side of important one-way trends.
There was something just last week where Mark Cuban, he was on a front office sports podcast, was talking about how he kind of took this middle position where he said, everyone's saying, the gambling and gamification and prediction markets are going bonkers. And some people are extremely concerned about what this means and want to regulate it all the way down. Mm-hmm. And you've got scandals in the NBA and like some very bad press. He said that he thinks that the actual problem are just prop bets. He's like, you need to take a measured, like nuanced approach to this. He's like, the props are the problem. The rest of it, not so much. And my personal position is like, I do totally think that there's some problems, particularly with the youngest, the like non-regulated, 16-year-olds doing all this stuff. I don't think that's great at all. I'm also a very pro free market libertarian guy. I don't want Tim Walz telling me you can't sports gamble. So I find myself in this middle camp, but I'm curious what you make of like a Mark Cuban comment like that.
I think what happened in the NBA has probably been happening forever.
No question.
Almost certainly it's been happening forever. Yeah. The only reason it was exposed is because now the online sportsbooks are licensed and they work with federal regulators to snuff out bad actors and make this stuff stop. So is that a good or bad development for society? I would think it's probably good, but it creates bad press. Whereas in the old world where it just happened quietly and the integrity of the game was quietly destroyed, now it's bad press, but like there are very sophisticated data scientists making a lot of money sniffing out this sort of issue. So I think part of it is just because it's now a regulated industry, you catch more stuff, and that's good. And the prop bet thing, like, it's certainly a market that can be more easily manipulated. But does that mean we shouldn't do it? That seems heavy-handed. I certainly would be a fan of that as a regular prop better.
Yeah. What did you make of the guy who bet on himself to take out Maduro?
That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, but it's a good example, right?
American dynamism.
Yeah. I mean, it's when you've got the regulators and the exchange or market, whatever you want to call it, working together, you can like snuff out that stuff. Easily. It's just dumb. It's stupid. You're not going to get away with it. But that's crazy. Yeah.
Tell me about the typical person these days, if it's changed at all, maybe it's been consistent, who joins DubClub as a user, not as a capper.
Consumer?
As the consumer. What is their cadence? Are they somebody who, you mentioned, there's different, almost like markets for them. Do they want to just enjoy and join a community of people who love watching tennis? And they've got this great jungle guide who's their bookie, and then they're going to be able to chat with people and like be in this community? Or is it somebody who's like, I want more volume and I want more exposure and I want to learn about new markets? Like, tell me about the different camps, because I'm sure there's not one answer for this.
There's a ton of different user personas that we serve. You kind of nailed it already. It's like, I like to think about a spectrum, right? On the far left of the spectrum is like my sister-in-law, who's got $10 in her DraftKings account at any point in time. She's betting 15 leg parlays exclusively, 25 cents to win $50, right? And what is she looking for from a DubClub? She's looking for a way to get started in terms of which actual props to include in her parlay. She's looking for, ideally an easy way to fill out the slips, because it can take a long time to punch in 15 different points assists. She's looking for a way to track once it's live. So how can you like keep track of all that? Where did I bet this? Who did I bet on, et cetera? You're probably looking for community and vibes, because you're going to lose a lot more than you're going to win if that's the style of betting you like to do. So like, are you getting value out of the experience itself? That's one end of the spectrum. On the other end of the spectrum, you have kind of what I described earlier, where it's like people that are really trying to make money every week, every month, finding these positive expected value spots and getting as much liquidity as you can down. So our task is, how do we create a product that serves all those content types really well? And that's not an easy challenge, but there's a lot that we've built and are continuing to build to add value for people across that spectrum.
Say a little bit about your competitors. What's going on? What's the latest? Who's emerging? Who's falling away? What's going on?
I'm like old school. I don't think we have any competitors. I think when we're on our best day, nobody can sniff us. You know, there are folks who, it's a hot space. So people will come in and try to take share, get lodged within this growing sector of the creator economy. Some folks more like general, they serve a bunch of different categories of creator.
Yep.
Others that are more like us, vertically focused on sports and sports betting content creators. But it's hard. Running a business is hard. So I don't think anything really matters besides how we execute, because everybody else is going to have to out-execute us. And if we're killing it, good fucking luck.
I love it. So you just said we're specific to sports, but in our last interview 2 years ago, saying specific to sports is almost an oxymoron, because you've got people with esports picks and Overwatch and chariot racing in Estonia. Like, there's the whole gamut. Tell me about some of the less obvious, just not just the NFL happening on DubClub.
For sure. I think When we started 2021, so we were kind of riding the post-COVID wave where everybody was stuck at home. KBO is where I was going with that, where it's like, this was the first sport to come back. Korean baseball organization.
I was going to say,
I can see the puzzled look in your eyes.
Know what KBO is.
And it's still like a big thing. So this is overnight Korean baseball. I think because they were the first sport back, they got a ton of love where it's like, okay, we got to bet on something. Let's get smart on this market. Baseball's a relatively, like we said earlier, there's a lot of structured data. So if you're a model-based capper, there's a lot to sink your teeth into.
Right.
Lefty, righty, pitch mix, weather. We've got multiple creators on DubClub that are just weather people. They're not providing any advice.
Some meteorologist.
Literally. Like, here is the weather in these microclimates that are MLB stadiums. And hugely popular.
Wow.
Shout out Kevin Roth.
Wow, the weather guy.
The sports betting weather guy. So those are like fun micro niches. Esports is popular. WNBA popping off.
Can you tell me how esports, I don't know a thing about esports. How in the world is that cohesive or is there enough continuity across these games that you can actually bet on them? I don't get that at all.
I wish I could tell you. I can't, but I know that it's super popular.
Which games?
League of Legends, very popular cappers that are like esports guys and gals.
Yeah. What else? What are some of the other niche ones? Was there a lot of action around the Olympics?
Yes, but not as much as esports. I like finding, there's also, even within the big sports, if you're like not a super hardcore bettor, you don't realize how many different ways there are to bet an NBA game or an MLB game. And this is an area where like FanDuel and DraftKings have such an amazing product where you can bet 3 points, rebounds, assists, total bases, walk, to get a walk, strikeout. Like the markets that pop up when you have these content creators that are constantly scouring the board to see where they can get an edge is like, even if there's only one sport being played on any given day, it's MLB, you open up your DraftKings account, there's like literally 200 different markets available for every game. So we see way more volume on props than we do on like the sides, totals, money line. And each sport has its own niches that pop up every year. Like I'm seeing a lot of, at the beginning of this year, this is a good example. People love betting on home runs. Low probability, good payouts, fun sweat. When you hit a two-leg home run parlay, it's like a freaking awesome feeling. We had some other creators, especially early this year where the weather was really bad, popping off with no home run bets. So you're not, home run bet, you're betting on a specific player to hit a home run typically.
Yeah.
These guys are betting on no home runs in the game. So you pick the spot where you like the pitching matchups and the wind's blowing in and it's 47 degrees. And that market was getting a ton of traction and printing a bunch of tickets. So every year, every season, there's a new like micro market that starts trending. And then typically the book will like sharpen up and eat away that edge. And then it's on the capper to find the next one.
What was Brent Musburger's gambling media company?
VSiN. One of the great announcers of all time, by the way.
No question about that.
Maybe number one.
Yeah, legend. Wandering eyes, but a legend.
I think Keith Jackson may be number one, but Brent Musburger's on the
Mount Rushmore.
For sure.
Yeah.
And a gambling sicko.
Totally. His lines, I mean, when he would say, it's a 30-point game with 6 minutes left, and he would go, and for our friends in the desert, this game is over. And he would just get right back into
significant to some.
Yeah, significant to some. But he had this gambling-based media network. I don't honestly know what happened. I think there was an exit of some sort. I don't know if it was a home run. I have no idea. Why do you guys not do that? Why?
We're starting to a little bit.
Like, why would you not take inspiration from something like that, from something like Barstool and their, betting cave, and do these partnerships? And like, why is there not a live DubClub show? Why, or live or not? Why is there not a show?
We're starting to. It's a great call out. Like, what makes us special is the focus and the creators. right? We're focused on the space. We're focused on a very specific user base and demo. We've got these amazing creators and influencers that command these huge audiences, and they're good on camera. They're good talkers. They have done YouTube. They've done live streaming forever.
It's built into their skill set.
So we're doing a better, or we're starting to do a more intentional job of like putting a spotlight on them and building content around that. So in this very studio, once a week, I do a live stream. We call it DCTV, DubClub Television, where we go live on X and YouTube. We get 3 killer cappers that are very video first to just work down the board. It's MLB, Wednesday, getaway day. Let's pull up Underdog and work through the whole board. What do you like? What matchups are interesting to you? And the reaction's been like really good. People are engaged. They bring their audiences. We cross-pollinate. There's nothing that converts better than video, and seeing a capper work through their process, show off how smart they are, builds trust, builds credibility. And their existing subs are popping in too.
Right, exactly.
It's like, oh, this is part of the package where I can kind of see this guy or gal in the lab.
I mean, I think you should go more than once a week.
I agree.
And I think that you should look at it as like, what's on, even if you take it as simple as what's on primetime TV today. It's Thursday night football, and there's, and there, I guess NBA wouldn't be the best example, but things that are overlapping, and literally make it look like PTI or Around the Horn, and you and Dash are the hosts talking through this docket, and pipe in via live stream, Riverside, Zoom, whatever these things, your guys, your top performing cappers for that specific sport and that specific game.
That is the.
It seems like you're working on it, but
go listen to DCTV. I run a show Wednesday, 9 a.m. Central.
Okay.
Every
like
week.
It. You're brick by brick. We're working
by
towards
brick.
this DC network.
Yes.
So you mentioned video is the best conversion. If you could go back in time, which every founder in a lot of cases wishes they had a time machine, what would be the growth levers that you would pull in 2022, 23, 24, whatever, now knowing what you know today? What would you have doubled down on?
The app experience. The app was kind of a second-class citizen for us for a long time.
Versus just desktop?
We built a lot of functionality for creators. And I don't think that was wasted time by any stretch of the imagination. Like, we are their business operating system. We need to have all the tools for them to succeed. Pricing, packaging, CRM, marketing suite, etc. But I think we did not invest deeply enough, early enough, in the consumer app experience, so that when that consumer subscribes to their favorite capper on DubClub, not all the pressure is on the capper, because they love the experience of betting, tailing, and discovering on DubClub itself. That's where you really become sticky and become a wagon and take a lot of the heat off the capper, who's going to have good days and bad days. If the experience of betting, tailing, discovering on DubClub is freaking epic, that consumer's hanging around long term, and they're finding another capper that they like on DubClub.
For the next year, 2 years, 5 years of what would constitute success for DubClub, do you see that being the business as is growing up, or the business growing more out?
What's out versus up?
Out being expanding into more diversified offerings and media, whatever, these different like arms, versus let's just add and stack bricks on what we're currently doing as our core thing.
I think the core mechanic of the business will remain unchanged because it's freaking epic. It's like we give these influencers a link to go make a bunch of money for themselves.
And potentially for other people.
Yeah. And their clients.
Yeah.
Great call out, win more together. And in return, like, they bring a ton of amazing consumers into our ecosystem. They download the app, they start clicking buttons. Like, we need to amplify that motion because it's like magic. It's negative cost of acquisition for consumers. And we need to give cappers all the tools to win and consumers all the tools to have an amazing experience with that capper they subscribe to. So I think, like, that's the first thing I'd say, is just keeping the franchise, keeping first things first. There are experience or opportunities for us to be smart about going out a bit and like hardening revenue and partnerships in different ways. But those only make sense if the core mechanic is humming and that marketplace is thriving and we're onboarding great new supply and we're giving consumers a better and better experience over time.
What is on the DubClub Hall of Fame for most outstanding or incredible picks over the last 5 years?
Wow, that's tough. I mean, your brain goes to like, what were the biggest hits, right? Where
you can start there.
The longest odds. But I'm like a boring bettor, you know? So I like cappers that stack a little bit of profitability.
Let's talk about both.
Every day.
I want to hear the home runs as well.
It's like how's your it's like asking who's your favorite kid.
You don't even have to name the handicapper. You can if you want to shout him out. I want to know just like what's an example of just an insane, this guy bet $5 and returned X.
It feels like every week there's one of those in the home run parlay markets where someone's betting a 4-leg home run parlay and they're turning $5, flyer parlay. This is a fifth of a unit for me. Just have fun with it into 15 grand or 20 grand. Like we see those all the time. Those are fun. And the no home run parlays have juicy odds too. So those are also fun in a different way. But like on Wednesday when we did a live stream, every time I do a live stream, we cook together a collab parlay of all the guests that are on. And it was like everything everybody said was spot on. Four-legger, Trey Savage over strikeouts, Juan Soto to hit a home run, Pete Alonso 2+ total bases, Jonathan Aranda 2+ hits, runs, or RBIs, casual 17xer. Just cooked it up, no sweat. It's like, wow, these guys are freaking smart. And obviously, when you're betting that way, you're gonna lose more than you're gonna win.
Of course.
Numerically. But that's a great example where it's like, I left that stream, I was like, I think this is gonna win. Like, these guys are smart. That was like very well researched. And we did. So I'll use that one. And then there's just so many cappers that are just like grinders too, that, like I said before, I just like trust them. Like if my grandma was like, I wanna do sports betting, what should I do? I'll just send their link. Go tail the DFS dojo. Go tell A1 Fantasy. Like, go tail Bet Sharper. And I'd be like, practice the proper bankroll management strategies. You're only betting 1% of your bankroll on any given bet, but I know if you do everything they tell you to do, at the end of the month and at the end of the year, you're gonna be up. And those are also like great success stories where you just see this cat and mouse game where they're continuing to evolve the way they research and stack green months, green seasons, green years. Like, yes, that's what it's all about.
Some of the cappers who are making 7 figures or have made 7 figures on the platform, are they kind of whales themselves? Are there some examples of that where they're betting big unit sizes?
Well, it's tough because if they're beating up FanDuel and DraftKings, like their action's no good. Like that is the other dynamic that is weird about sports and the traditional online sportsbook model is they'll cut you off.
If you're too good, you're out.
Yeah, and they're like pretty short leash, most of them. And that's, in many cases, why they come to DubClub. I need a way to make money. I can't really make money. I'm limited to $7 on Fanatics.
Wait, what do you mean by that? Limited to $7 on Fanatics.
So if you're a good bettor, all these sports books have extremely sophisticated risk teams.
Right.
And it's not just about pricing the game or the player prop. It's about the players on the betting side.
Okay.
So if you're good, or they detect that as a capper, as a bettor, they will say your max bet with us is $10. Your max bet with us is $50.
Wow.
The most extreme case, which is rare, is your money is no good here. We're shutting down your account.
My God.
Not because they did anything wrong, but because they have an edge versus the book, and the book does not want to play against them. So in that case, you are smart. you want to make a living off that sports betting intelligence, offering a DubClub subscription is a way to do it. That's another, when I talk about market structure being different, the prediction market structure that does not support that model where you're betting against the house and the house can cut you off at any given point in time.
Because prediction markets is someone's winning, someone's losing at
Correct.
all times, right?
The difference with prediction markets, where it's still hard to be an average Joe, you're betting against very sophisticated counterparties, generally speaking.
I just put it in the newsletter last week that on Polymarket, 0.1% of bettors have won 67% of profits.
That's not Brent and Lewis going back and forth. It's Lewis and Brent against Susquehanna.
Literally, I was going to say guys at Citadel.
Yeah. So that's a different kind of challenge.
Yeah.
And in many ways, the sportsbook model actually better serves the recreational bettor because they can offer boosts, they can offer promos, they can offer ways to keep someone engaged, whereas in a prediction market, there's not that repeated game dynamic. It is every market and every trade is optimizing for that particular market and trade. Whereas online sportsbooks, they think more about lifetime value of a customer and things of that nature, keeping people on the merry-go-round. I don't think there's that mechanism in prediction markets because the exchange, the Polymarket or the Kalshi, they don't have enough margin to really invest in consumer retention in the same way. So I don't know where it all shakes out.
When you talk about, talking to the grandma example of managing your bankroll and do this the right way, what would you say to somebody, or what do you see when somebody says, wait, I want to kind of get into this, or I started sports betting, and then things just fall apart. They have no strategy, and they're like, you know what, screw this, I'm out. On the flip side, so what do you see when that failure case happens, or it just doesn't work at all, and they get cleaned out?
That's the predominant, that is the most likely outcome.
I'm sure. And so how, as a two-part question, when you're telling, hey, yeah, you should join DubClub, and I want you to do this the fun, sustainable way, and I'm not trying to, don't get cleaned out, don't do anything dumb. This is how you can actually make this really fun for you. What is your guide for more fun, sustainable management of a bankroll and strategy?
The three most basic fundamental principles would be odd shopping, bankroll management, and I'm going to throw in tailing someone who knows what they're doing to start in very self-serving, but I think true guidance. So I forget which one I said first, but I would say price shopping's the first one. So again, you want to bet on the Cubs to win today. You're in the state of Illinois, you can place that bet on literally 15 different places. And at those 15 different places, there's probably 10 different prices. Mm-hmm. So you need to go and place that where you get the best price. Because if you're being serious about this and you want to make money, you got to get the best price on every single trade. And we built a lot into the product to make that easier. Because who wants to open 15 different apps and search Cubs? Not me. That sucks. That takes the fun out of it. So we call that odd shopping, price shopping. That's crucial. Second would be proper bankroll management. Anyone who knows anything about probability and statistics, even if you have an edge, you're going to go through periods where you're going to lose a lot in a row. And you need to be able to weather that variance because you're only betting 1% of your bankroll on any given bet. So that's classic bankroll management strategy. There's more sophisticated unit sizing algorithms where higher risk bets should be a lower percentage of your bankroll. But the general best practice is if you're betting a coin flip, which at most sports books is priced at minus 110, $110 to win 100, that should be 1% of your bankroll. You got $1,000 across all your sports books, you should be betting $10 on every minus 110 bet. That is probably the number one thing that people just screw up. They deposit $50 to DraftKings and their first bet is $25. It's okay, you lost your first two bets, game over. Yeah. Wasn't that fun?
Right.
And then the third thing is follow someone who knows what they're doing. Research, go to DubClub, check the different cool collections we have that are real, that are based on real data. This is an NBA capper. This is a long shot capper. This is someone who does straight bets only. Someone who does home run parlays that's based on real data. Figure out what markets you like to bet on and go subscribe to someone that is a good fit for you. Because they will give you a better shot, generally speaking, versus you winging it or coin flipping. If you do all those three things, you'll probably stay on the Ferris wheel a lot longer. Have more fun, win more together.
There you go. Kind of wrapping up here. There are a few iconic sports bettors and gamblers in the public eye. I'm thinking Phil Mickelson, people with that level of appetite. Who are some other people at that level? I mean, I know MJ loves to gamble and play cards and all that, very famously. Who are some other people, high-profile people who, like, low-key or not, actually love to bet on sports and are very serious about it and throw real money around?
I'm going to go to the exact opposite of the name you threw out, Phil Mickelson. You know who Billy Walters is?
I don't think so.
He's like the godfather of sophisticated sports betting. And he hates Phil Mickelson.
Oh, that's why I know him. There was a whole book.
Yes. He's got a great book. There was like a lawsuit. Phil Mickelson is a fish. He's a big losing bettor.
Yes.
Respectfully.
He says that he's lost
like
hundreds of millions of dollars.
It's crazy. He needs to subscribe to somebody's DubClub and practice proper bankroll management.
Let's get Phil on DubClub already.
Phil,
enough. 200
as a
million
sub,
enough.
not as a capper. Let's be clear.
Certainly not as a capper.
But Billy Walters would be a great capper. He's like wrote the book on finding an edge versus market makers. Like literally wrote a book about it. And you should read it if you're interested in the space. It's because it kind of walks through the mentality and the discipline and the approach required to be a winner long term. Because you really can be. Like it's much easier to be a long-term winner in sports betting than trying to day trade stocks, and it's a lot more fun too. But even though that's true, the vast majority of people run through their deposit, and they're off the Ferris wheel.
All right. In closing, next big rock that DubClub faces, needs to move, and what's on the other side of that?
It's all about growth for us, delivering that better consumer experience in the app. How can we take this amazing gift, which is the capper and the consumer interacting with the app, and just make it an epic, irreplaceable experience? And on the other side of delivering that outcome, that's a sick business where you have people in the app every day watching sports, discovering cappers, sweating out their bets. That's a world I want to live in, where DubClub is the hub, the destination for the tens of millions of Americans that bet on sports every week.
All right, Lewis. Well, if history has set us up for another check-in in 2028.
2 years.
2 years. We'll see you then. Thanks, dude.
Brent, what a pleasure. Thank you to Dunkin' Donuts. I feel like I got more and more caffeinated throughout the program. And this was a blast.
High energy pod. I love it. Go DubClub.
Go Skybox.